Today's episode of Don't Talk TV is on yet another topic that I thought I would never ever be covering on this channel, and that is the situation of public defecation and urination that seems to be, of late, becoming a bit of an epidemic in Canada. Hello, my name's Nicholas Wansbutter. I'm a lawyer in Stratford, Ontario, Canada, and welcome to Don't Talk TV. Now, we've gotten a lot of questions in the comments box and even emails from viewers wanting to hear about our thoughts on the situation with people defecating and urinating in public places across Canada. There have been a number of social media posts, especially social media. You don't see this in legacy media. To the contrary, as we'll cover a bit later, legacy media tends to say, no, this isn't happening. You only think it's happening because you're racist. But we'll look at some examples of that. Now, a bit of a disclaimer before we get into this. Due to technical issues, this is my second time recording this. I'm always much better the first time I do it, so my apologies if this isn't up to the usual standards. That's just my way, is the first time's always the best, and when I redo it, it's not as good. But we'll go with it and try to do the best episode we can. And what we will cover in this episode is, firstly, we'll look at the facts and the evidence to show what's going on. Secondly, we'll look at what laws might apply. And thirdly, we'll look at, are these laws being applied, or how are they being applied? How is the state reacting to this state of affairs? So we go firstly to the facts on the ground. And I'm going to look at three examples. There's more, but there's three ones that I've seen lately that seem to be good examples of what's going on. The first is one that's gone viral on TikTok. A young lady from the Saga Beach area posted this video. I'll show an excerpt of it, talking about what's going on at Saga Beach.
So I'm tired of people saying that the people pooping on the beach, like that's what they do back home. We are not back home. We are in Canada. As a local, I refuse to let my kids dig in the sand on Beach 1.
Now, she doesn't show any pictures, but I'm not aware of any reason to doubt the veracity of what she's saying. And we'll look at a bit later what the mayor had to say. He doesn't know her, so he had no reason to say why she'd be lying, just that she is. Then we have this video from a gas station in Brampton. Now, again, people in authority have claimed that this is fake, but that's why I'm showing you the video, because a still had been shared on Twitter, and a person with the Twitter handle Raj Liberal, who says he's the owner of that gas station. I'm not sure if he's a member of the Liberal Party or he just identifies as liberal, but he said, no, this is a lie, this is photoshopped. Well, as you can see, this is a video. It's pretty hard to Photoshop a video. And if it is a Photoshop, it's the best Photoshop I've ever seen. I mean, look at how perfect those shadows are, and especially the fact that you can see this man's reflection in the vehicle that he's in front of. Third example comes from Nova Scotia, and this is a lady complaining on a Facebook post about people urinating in the elevator of the building that she lives in. So there's three different parts of Canada. You can see that these are some examples of things that are happening. Now, let's look at some laws of what might apply. The first thing that comes to mind is the criminal code. What is there under the criminal code that might apply? Well, there's indecent acts under section 173, and subsection 1 of that says, everyone who willfully does an indecent act in a public place, in the presence of one or more persons, or in any place with intent to insult or offend any person, is guilty of an indictable offense, etc. It then says, every person who, in any place for a sexual purpose, exposes his or her genital organs to a person who's under the age of 16 years can be punished. Public nudity under 174 sub 1, everyone without lawful excuse who is nude in a public place or is nude and exposed to public view while on private property is guilty of an offense. Now, these are a bit difficult to apply. 173, indecent act, that, if you look at episode 159, I go into this in a little bit more detail, but we're talking about things, they say, that shock the community. Usually, this still applies to sexual related acts. Generally, what I see it as is people who are masturbating in public. Would that apply to public urination or public defecation? There's some old case law from the 1980s that I found that seems to suggest that it could be, but whether that would pass the test today is hard to say, for I think reasons that will become clear if you look at episode 159. So I recommend you look at that one. Public urination or defecation is usually dealt with by bylaws. So Saga Beach is in the county of Simcoe. Their bylaw number 4805 is the anti-dumping bylaw. Under this bylaw, they define refuse or debris as meaning a number of things, sub E being solid industrial waste, liquid industrial waste, agricultural waste, or sewage. And as you might guess, sewage means any liquid or solid waste containing animal, vegetable, or mineral matter in suspension or a solution. So humans are considered animals. So fecal matter, urine, because it says solid or liquid, that would be sewage. So in its offense here, no person shall throw, place, or deposit refuse or debris on private property, property of the corporation, or property of any local municipality within the county, without authority from the owner or occupant of such property. So I think this would be an applicable bylaw. In the case of the gentleman defecating at the gas station in Brampton, Brampton has a specific bylaw to prohibit or regulate public nuisances. And they define a public nuisance as actions occurring within the municipality in which, by reason of the conduct of the person in attendance, results in one or more of the following activities. So we have a number here, but the one that applies to us is sub O. Without reasonable excuse, outdoor public urination, defecation, spitting, or vomiting. Now, finally, then we turn to the application of the law. How is the law being applied? And the short answer is, well, the laws I just covered aren't being applied. The young lady from Saga Beach who did the first video that I showed had a visit from the OPP.
It was a big shock to me to open my door to see the officer asking me to come out and then stepping in and having a whole conversation about what I'm posting on social media, which is harming nobody.
Somebody called in about somebody posting things on TikTok about defecating on.
Now, we can't see a lot from that video of what exactly they were doing, but clearly they're investigating her for spreading things on TikTok. The inference seems to be that they're suggesting she's being hateful in some way by noticing this and being concerned about this public health concern. I call this the crime of noticing while being white, because I think if roles were a bit different, if it was different people who we suspected of defecating on the beach, and it was different people who were unhappy about that, the police response would be totally different. And again, look at episode 159. We'll link some other episodes in the show description where you can see how the police tend to approach things differently, and we see them doing that here yet again. Now, as I referenced, the mayor of Saga Beach, we have an article here from the Toronto Sun where his commentary was shared where he's saying this isn't true, it's not happening. But it seems that it clearly is happening. I don't know whether he's telling the truth or not when he says they've received complaints. Are people just complaining on social media rather than complaining to authorities? I don't know, but maybe they're not complaining to the authorities because they know the authorities not only won't do anything, they'll do stuff like the OPP harassing this poor woman just for talking about what's going on social media. Which brings me back to what I said in episode 1 of Don't Talk TV. The fact that you don't have any obligation to answer the door for police, and my recommendation is that you don't answer the door for police, don't talk to them. It's called Don't Talk TV for a reason, because talking to police almost never benefits you. They're not there to help you. This is an enduring myth in Canadian society that the police are there to help you. They're there to build a case against you if they're there talking to you, unless they're taking a witness statement from you. But as in the case of this lady, they clearly weren't taking a witness statement from her. So in my view, she would have been better off just to keep quiet, not talk at all, not answer the door at all. Because once you open that door a crack, the police are masters at manipulating and intimidating their way into your house for more conversation, and generally bad things ensue. But don't rely on this video as legal advice particular to your situation. You always need advice from a lawyer that's specific to your circumstances. So call a lawyer for that. If you want me to be that lawyer, my contact information is listed below. And if there's topics you'd like to see us cover, please keep those requests coming in. Send them to the email address listed below or leave them in the comments section. Please don't email them to my law office. And if you found this video at all interesting, helpful, or informative, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, and following us on social media. I mean, this is the only way we can grow, because the algorithm sure isn't recommending Don't Talk TV to people. So please share this content if you find it useful.